This is News Desk with me, Bernice Abubeidu-Lanza. Our headlines this hour: thousands sit for basic education certificate examination. Today we are live in some centres to gauge the mood. Also, documents cited by Joy News reveal the Cecilia Dapar missing cash case was initially filed at a juvenile court, but no amounts were specified as stolen. We have details, plus ask whether the office of the AG was aware of this.
In terms of a prosecution going on in the juvenile court or in the circuit court, we are not aware.
And amidst rage and confusion in Niger, options of a possible evacuation linger. We'll speak to some analysts on the thoughts of these decisions, and we also have business in this bulletin. Please stay for details. We're coming to you live from our studios at Kokomlemle on DSTV channel 421, on GoTV around the world at myjoyonline.com and on your digital television. The details now. Documents cited by Joy News reveal the Cecilia Dapar missing cash scandal was initially filed at a juvenile court. Despite a list of missing items captured in the documents and the alleged theft of an unspecified amount of money, the suspects, we are told, were only charged with unlawful entry. This latest information adds to the unending confusing facts surrounding the alleged theft of huge sums of money from the residence of the former sanitation minister. Joseph Akable has more.
The Attorney General's opinion on the document. The case was reported in June 2023, despite the alleged theft taking place in October 2022. He noted that despite claims of a police complaint and arrest of one of the suspects in October 2022, there was no information at the Tesano police station supporting this arrest, complaint, or any investigations. Joy News has, however, cited court documents filed at the Juvenile and Family Court in Accra on 1st December 2022. Prosecutors curiously charged the domestic staff, who was then aged 17, with the offense of unlawful entry and being on the premises for unlawful purposes. This begs the question why this crucial information is lost in the Attorney General's opinion, which analyzes the docket and concludes no evidence of a report or investigation by the Tesano police was available on record. This is because the latest information shows that not only did the police investigate the matter, but they actually filed charges in courts. The question was put to Deputy Attorney General Alfred Chiayeboa.
The docket that was submitted to us had nothing about a case pending in any juvenile. The only hint we had in that docket was that a report was made to the police at Tesano. And so in terms of a prosecution going on in the juvenile court or in the circuit court, we are not aware.
So that was Joseph Akable basically explaining to you what we know about this particular case so far. Let's now hear from Alfred Chiayeboa, who is Deputy Attorney General. He spoke on the probe last night.
Interestingly, on this case, when the Chronicle published it, that was the first time I think it was on Friday.
How? Mr. Alfred Chiayeboa, how are we supposed to believe this?
And I think it's something that the police should be in a position to answer, because they were prosecuting the case. And you know, if you have a case in Ghana and the police are prosecuting it, if you sit in Accra as the Attorney General, you may not know everything unless it's brought to your attention. So had it been the fact that there was a publication, perhaps we wouldn't have even known. If the police had actually complied with our earlier directive to submit cases above 500,000 pesos, perhaps all these things would have happened.
So that's the Deputy Attorney General speaking to MFR Power on the probe last night. Let's now speak to a lawyer, Albert Jimfrey, to have a clear understanding of all that's happening, the case moving from the juvenile court, traveling all this way, the many angles and dynamics to all of this. Good morning. Thank you for your time, Mr. Albert Jimfrey. Now, your quick assessment of this case and how it's been handled so far.
All right. Good morning to your viewers. One thing I would like to say is that when it comes to criminal prosecution in Ghana, the duty rests with the Attorney General. No other institution in Ghana has the power to prosecute criminal cases other than the Attorney General. And when it comes to matters like this, especially those which raise a lot of public concern, the Attorney General is mindful of the evidence that it is supposed to submit before the court. And note that the Attorney General is not an investigative body. It is only a prosecutorial body. The investigation is to be done by the police. So in loose sense, the police supply the Attorney General with the information for prosecution. So if the police feel that the Attorney General feel that the information supplied to them is not adequate, I don't see anything wrong with the AG calling the Attorney General to conduct further investigations to aid it in prosecution. It is a usual thing that happens in criminal prosecutions, and this is not a rarity.
I think the police missed it when it did not inform the AG about this case, seeing the personality involved, and the AG also highlighting the fact that there were many missing elements to this case. So say, for example, even when it was reported initially and the issue went to the juvenile, there were unspecified amounts of money involved. There's just a whole lot of missing elements in the entire case. Did the police miss out on this one?
Yes, I agree perfectly with the Attorney General. There is something in law we call double jeopardy. Now, double jeopardy simply means that a person cannot be prosecuted for the same offense more than once, and other offenses that you could have conveniently been charged under the first prosecution. So, for instance, if you place someone before the juvenile court and you try the person for, let's say, unlawful entry, and the person is either convicted or acquitted, you cannot bring other offenses that you could have conveniently charged the person in a different charge sheet. So if you presented the people before the juvenile court, I think that information was very critical, that you let the Attorney General know that these people are standing trial before the juvenile court, so that the Attorney General would discontinue that prosecution and recharge them for all the offenses before the new court now. But so far, there are two cases pending against the same persons in two different courts. And if one of them should end, the other one cannot be tried. And I think that information should have been brought to them. And once the AG has highlighted that, the police should just take it in good faith and learn from it. Prosecution is technical. And when you have technical person drawing your attention to some lapses in it, I think that should be accepted in good faith.
So, Mr. Jaivi, what's the way forward now? The AG has made certain recommendations, but not based on the knowledge that this traveled from a juvenile point. So, what's the solution to that? Does the AG now need to study the case again and offer new advice, or what the AG suggested is good to go with?
So, I think the way forward is for one to acknowledge that one is a master. That to me is the starting point. The AG is the master when it comes to criminal prosecution in Ghana. Criminal cases begin with the filing of a charge sheet. So the initiation and conduct of all criminal cases in Ghana is a duty of the Attorney General according to Article 88 of the Constitution. So that if there's a criminal case filed before a police and after investigations have been conducted, the rest is supposed to be taken over by the Attorney General. But because of the lapses in our system and because we do not have a good number of state attorneys, some of the powers have been ceded to the police. That does not mean that the police and the Attorney General have the same powers when it comes to prosecution. So the police must first acknowledge that we are working under the instructions of the Attorney General. And they are going forward supposed to take all the instructions that the Attorney General will give them. The second thing is, if there are some disclosures that they need to make to the Attorney General, they should do so. The case is not a police case. It is a case against the state. And when it comes to cases against the state, it's the Attorney General that represents the state in terms of those matters. So as from today, the police should work together with the Attorney General and deliver to them all that they need, make ultimate disclosures to them. And I feel the advice by the AG covers all that. I think the AG cannot advise on something it does not know. And the advice given was on the basis of the information that has been given to the police, to the AG by the police. So if now there are new matters all disclosures must be made to the Attorney General. If there's further advice the Attorney General wants to give, it is going to do that.
And finally, to you, and this may be quite a controversial one, but does it appear to you that there are some political strings being pulled here? Because one would expect that at least in demanding the dockets for examination, the Ghana Police Service would have furnished the Attorney General with all the information he needed. But as we are learning from the Deputy AG, there was nothing about a pending case at the juvenile court. Do you suspect that there may be some strings that are being pulled here in terms of how the case should travel and what the public should be made aware of?
Not at all. I don't see any political connotations here. This is something that happens most of the time. I think, in my view, the police felt that information was not necessary since they are building an entirely new docket concerning the case. The Attorney General is now drawing the attention to the fact that this information was important, so it should have included it. So I'm sure going forward, the police is going to include everything that they know about the case, even things that they themselves feel were not relevant. I think this whole political dimension is coming up because of the personalities involved, because of the quantity of monies involved, and also considering the fact that the complainant was, since he has resigned, was a member of the current government. The Attorney General is also a political person because he's also a Minister of State, and in loose sense, you can say that is his colleague within the political circle. So people feel that he will not be able to do a good job. But I feel we should give the Attorney General the benefit of the doubt. The police should supply them with the necessary information that they need to supply so that the Attorney General, as technical men, will be able to look at the case docket and convince, because you cannot go to court as a prosecutor if you're not satisfied that you can secure conviction. If the police is not satisfied that they could secure conviction, they have every right to call for further investigations to be conducted. And I believe the police should cooperate with them in terms of this. There's no politics. This is nothing new. It is something that happens regularly. Just that the personality involved is a political person, and people now want to move it beyond the scope of normality into politics.
Thank you so much for your time this morning. That lawyer Albert Jane Fee sharing his thoughts on this with us. If you just joined us, the new information we are picking up is that the Attorney General was not made aware of a pending case in the juvenile court with regard to the Cecilia Dapa missing or stolen cash saga. Stay with us here on Joy News for more on this. Away from that, the Ghanaian embassy in Niger is exploring the possibility of evacuating Ghanaian citizens as President Akufo-Addo and his West African counterpart leaders are set to make a final decision on deploying soldiers to restore constitutional order in Niger. A meeting will be held today, you understand, between leadership of the Ghanaian community and officials of Ghana's embassy in Niamey to explore the possibility of an evacuation exercise. Seydou Abudu is president of the Ghanaian community in Niger. We were trying to reach him, but he's unavailable at the moment. But he makes us understand that that meeting is scheduled to happen. But let's now speak to Colonel Festus Aboagye. He's drafted a report on scenarios of ECOWAS intervention in Niger. Grateful for your time, Colonel, and it's a real pleasure to have you here. And I'm very happy with the scenarios you have painted, because when we heard of ECOWAS's decision to move into Niger with, troops, that was on another angle. It became interesting when Niger and Mali said, not Niger, Burkina Faso, I beg your pardon, and Mali said, if you do this, we will consider it a declaration of war. Run us through briefly these scenarios that you create of what is likely to happen if ECOWAS goes ahead with the threat. Hello, Colonel.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Madam Abupeidu. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, please.
Yes. Well, we all knew that the political deadline passed yesterday. But let me explain that the political timeline in such circumstances are different from the military timeline. So the mere fact that yesterday passed and there was no intervention doesn't mean that there may not be an intervention. The chiefs of military forces within the region are meeting. They need to establish a joint headquarters, appoint a commander, that's by the political authorities. They need to plan the campaign into detail. Meanwhile, obtaining intelligence and so on and so forth. They need to go back and brief the political authorities on the military plan and get the political approval before they go in. So we should not rush into saying that because yesterday passed and nothing happened, nothing is going to happen. With that in the background, I thought that I should exercise my brains around some of the hypothetical scenarios that could unfold in the event of an actual military intervention. And the one that I started with is that the CNSP, which is the Council for the National Safeguarding of the Homeland, established by the coup plotters, headed by General Abdurrahmani Chiani, are very resilient. They mobilize and exploit, popular support within the country, and are able to resist all the pressure that ECOWAS, places on them. I mean, broadly, that is one. So the intervention does not achieve its set objectives. Or ECOWAS goes in and quickly succeeds, which I call a swift triumph. That could involve a number of dynamics. The CNSP capitulates. It is isolated from the rest of the army because the army now withdraws its support as it had done on the 28th of July. And then ECOWAS is able to reinstate, Mr. Mohamed Bazoum as president. And that is the end of the story. ECOWAS has achieved its aim. The third scenario could be one that I provocatively call the Bakhmut type standoff, where, yes, ECOWAS makes an initial entry successfully, but then comes out against stiff resistance from the CNSP and the rest of the Nigerian forces, supported by, Nigerian citizens. And this then attenuates, and we get into the scenario of ECOMOC, where we went in to extricate Ghanaians, and we ended up staying some 9 or so years, including into Sierra Leone. There will be serious casualties on both sides. And when that happens, back at home, people will start asking whether it was indeed necessary for ECOWAS to even have intervened. The civilian casualties will also demand some humanitarian assistance, and therefore there will be pressure on ECOWAS to actually rein in the intervention and look for some, political settlement. The last scenario is a mixed outcome. Yes, ECOWAS goes in, but then it gets bogged down. It doesn't achieve its aim, and it becomes a stalemate. And ECOWAS then needs to come back to the drawing table and see whether it can engage, effectively with these actors. So in between these scenarios, you're going to have the role of the media, for instance, including social media, in shaping narratives.
Right.
You're going to have intelligence agencies who currently are working behind the scenes, whether Eastern intelligence agencies or Western intelligence agencies, including direct or some covert involvement in the situation, whether by Wagner, for instance, which I decided not to mention, or whether by the remnants of Western forces, whether U.S. or France, and so on and so forth. In the long run, regional stability could worsen. And I'll try to point out that in the case of scenario 3, for instance, when the troops that are going to participate in the intervention return home, that is those who survive, we must expect that there are going to be more coups rather than less coups, because they may rise up against their government who hurriedly, hastily, decided on an intervention. All said and done, I say that the best way of preventing coups is to analyze the root causes of coups and address those root causes.
And we'll be going to that shortly, Kennel, because it's an interesting conversation that we've been having since the coup happened in Niger. But there are those who have a certain understanding of why Burkina Faso and Mali could be offering support to Niger. And I'd like to take your thoughts on whether their appreciation of what is happening is close to the truth or not. The suspicion is that if ECOWAS succeeds in Niger, then it could possibly encourage an invasion of Mali and Burkina Faso. And that is why Burkina Faso and Mali think that Niger deserves their support in this particular situation. Is that a proper appreciation of the situation?
I don't think it is. Indeed, I chose not to put in the economic factor into my scenario. But you and I know that as we speak, many countries in West Africa, including Ghana, are facing serious economic challenges. So raising funds in order to procure logistical support, equipment, what we call combat service support, the food, the fuel, the maintenance of the vehicles, is not going to be easy. Now, ECOWAS is not going to be in a position to fight multiple campaigns, first starting from Niger, and then extending into Burkina Faso, and then extending into Mali, and then into Guinea. All along, forgetting that in these countries, excluding Guinea, there is also an existential threat in the form of the jihadist terrorism and insurgency. So ECOWAS's adventurism, by trying to think that it can easily go into Niger, and once it succeeds in my scenario 2, be emboldened now to extend the operation into these others, is not going to be feasible. And it's not going to be an immediate option. Maybe they will take time now to withdraw from Niger and think about Burkina Faso, and then sequentially think about Mali and think about Guinea. But they are not going to be able simultaneously, to conduct operations in all of these countries. In my scenario, to remember, if you read it, I was very careful to say if at all, because I did not want to introduce the feasibility of the operation. Once I assume that there is not going to be an operation, of course, there is no need for any further analysis. And that is the end of the story. So I decided to explore the various possibilities, but then conclude by saying that if at all, given the political circumstances, of course, I've written that the various ECOWAS countries, in the kinds of democratic dispensations that we have, unlike Abacha's side, when we're all military dictatorships, we need to go to our legislature and get the approval of our parliaments and senate, and then mobilize the funds and go in. Already we know that in Nigeria, the Nigerian Senate has rejected Tinubu's request for that kind of operation. Of course, we should be mindful also that in 2015, 2017, the former Nigerian head, what was his name? The immediate past president of Nigeria made a similar request to his Senate. The Senate rejected it. He still went ahead. Times have changed. The situation in the Gambia in 2016 is very different, geographically, security-wise, military-wise, very, very different from Niger. And therefore, one cannot conclude that because it was possible in the Gambia, it's going to be possible in Niger. Hello.
We know that the Ghanaian authorities are trying to evacuate Ghanaian citizens from the place.
Yes.
As you mentioned, the deadline was yesterday. There's been no invasion, but that does not mean that it will not happen. How soon should we be seeing Ghanaians in Niger being evacuated?
Well, we have given the impression that Western lives are more important. So, for instance, in the case of Ukraine, many other countries decided to evacuate their citizens from Ukraine. Until lately, or later in the day, Ghana did so. So once you see, because they have got the resources for very rigorous assessment and critical appraisal of security situations. Once they decide to remove their citizens from such theaters, we should pick up the signal, even if we haven't done our own intelligence. In my scenario, somewhere, I've suggested that if ECOWAS succeeds, for instance, the ordinary citizens, if not the military, will target ECOWAS nationalities or citizens that are in Niger. So to avoid all of these, circumstances, get your citizens out of the place, especially if Ghana is going to be part of the ECOWAS force. We have not decided as a country, I haven't heard it maybe, but it's not a done deal that because the political authorities meet in Abuja and decide that an invasion is going to take place, necessarily all the remaining, 15 minus these 4 countries will make it 11, I think, that all the 11 other countries, are going to participate. Even if they participate, they could participate in different ways. Direct participation in the intervention is one option. Providing some logistical intelligence sharing and so on is another option. Or advocating for what I was told by your producer, the dual-theism. In other words, we adopt a more cautious approach and we emphasize more of diplomacy, of dialogue, of mediation and negotiation, rather than just going in with guns blazing to resolve a political constitutional crisis in a country with the use of force. It comes with a lot of risk. And I think Ghana needs to sit down and appraise the situation vis-a-vis the decision of ECOWAS and determine whether its participation directly in the military intervention is in the national interest of this country. We want secure borders. We want trade to go on. Not long ago, we heard that about $40 million or so onions are traded between Niamey and here. That trade will just disappear. The traders will be out of business. Those who need the onions will not be able to have the onions and so on. It will have a lot of other collateral, consequences or impact on restaurants and so on. So it's not just a very simple matter that we're going to go in. Given our location geographically, our proximity to Niger, even though we cannot go directly to Niger, and we can't go through Burkina, because Burkina will not allow us to have safe passage, we need to go through Benin. And Benin itself has suggested any country that takes part in the intervention could pay a price.
Right. Colonel, I appreciate your time here this morning. Colonel Festus Abuaja retired as a conflict and security analyst. And Colonel, we will be monitoring the situation in Niger and reach out to you as the developments occur. But back home in Ghana, the basic education certificate examination starts today with a total of 600,714 candidates. 300,000, I beg your pardon, 300,323 of them are males and 300,391 are females. 18,993 schools are participating in this year's exam. The number of candidates that registered for this year's BECE is 8.8% higher than the 2022 entry figure. My colleague Jacqueline Ansumaya has been moving around and engaging with the candidates.
Well, I can pass these exams.
Okay. All right. That's a gentleman here. Come. Don't be shy. What's your name?
Joby Salom.
Joby Salom. How well are you prepared for today?
I'm super prepared for the exams.
You're fully prepared. So what should we expect from you?
Hey, good grade, yes, good grade.
Good grades. All right. So join me. What about you? How well are you guys prepared?
We are prepared very well.
And your name?
Hayat Mohammed.
Yes, Mohammed. All right. So what paper are you writing today?
RME and English.
All right, sure. Thank you very much. I have another person here. I need another guy. I need you. All right. So what's your name?
Hakim Adams.
Hakim Adams. How well are you prepared for today's paper?
I'm really excited. I'm very prepared.
Okay. All right, sure. All right. Thank you very much. So. All right, so as you can see, we are here at the Nima cluster of schools, and the kids are super excited right now, geared up for today's paper. And today they are writing RME, and of course they'll write a second paper later on in the day. So it's just some few minutes to time. The students are getting inside to write their first paper, which is RME.
So that's Jacqueline interacting with those excited candidates of the BEC. She visited the Nima cluster of schools. But she's also been speaking to Adiza Tassa, who is Municipal Director of Education at Ayawaso East. And she shared her observations with her. We'll bring you that much later on the other news bulletins. Away from the BEC, MP for Jirapa, Cletus Seidu Dapila, is taking the NPP administration on for failing to construct a trunk road leading to the hometown of one of its founding fathers, S.D. Dumbo. Speaking to Joy News, the MP lamented the poor nature of the road. He's insisting the NPP should not only use Dumbo's name to woo northern voters, but they must extend development to his constituency.
I filed a question in connection with the road, the only road, trunk road connecting Jirapa to Duri. Duri is the hometown of S.D. Dumbo, founding member of the UP tradition. If you are to mention 3 members of the MPP, you cannot escape Dumbo's name. You have Dumbo, Buzia Dumbo Dankwa tradition. Surprisingly, the only trunk road leading to his hometown has not been constructed. Contract was awarded far back 2020, and the contractor was supposed to complete the job in 2022. But as I'm addressing you, the contractor has abandoned site due to delay in payment. So I filed a question to listen to the horse's own mouth, that is the Minister for Roads and Highways, and the assurances he has given, I don't think that they are ready to do the job. So I just want to use your medium to appeal to the entire government machinery of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo that this is the hometown of their founding member, S.D. Dumbo. They should do something to honor the man. Honoring Dumbo is just not naming edifice after him. His subjects, where he comes from, they also want to fill the development. They want development. Even if it's a polyclinic, or just to construct the road, that one alone, the people will be so happy about it. Most often than not, what we hear is when they want, especially with the presidential elections, or the MPP presidential primaries ongoing, many of them are now visiting the hometown of Dumbo to associate themselves with him. And it means that it is when they want votes that they use his name. And when they get the votes or after elections, then they neglect the area. So I'm calling on President Nana Addo, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, and the entire MPP machinery. They should mobilize resources to honor their founding father.
Meanwhile, MP for Gomoa West, Richard Jan Mensah, is also sounding alarm bells on the rising incidents of armed robbery in parts of his constituency This, he alludes to the poor nature of roads there. He's asking government to fix those roads to also increase economic activities in Gomoa West.
As we speak now, from the Ankamudi Rampon Road connects almost to about not less than 50% of the roads in Gomoa West. Gomoa West, we have about 78 communities, and this trunk road connects to almost about 50% of the 78 communities. As it stands now, we know there was a contractor on site, that is Top International, who has abandoned site since last year. And I asked the question to the minister when the contractor is returning to site. From his response, it means that just what we always know, that the contractor has not been paid and has actually vacated site. And he indicated that they are going to write a letter to the contractor to return back to site. This is the problem. The problem is the fact that he has not been paid. That is why he has left site. Writing the letter to him doesn't solve the problem. But when what he requires is payment, I am actually calling on the government and the minister, even though he has given the assurance that the contractor is going to return to site. As we speak now, as a major road for the community, there's a high security threat on the stretch. The transport from the junction that goes to a community like Bebiano, which should have been ordinarily be around 5 cities, now they charge as much as 15 cities, 20 cities. So the ordinary people in the community are unable to afford the transport, and they cannot also walk that 15 kilometers to the roadside to even attend to the necessities of life, even like attending to the hospital. Even secondary school students, if a child is on the free SHS student, is a free SHS and lives at the Juma Kwanzaa and has to go to Apam, and the road is so bad and he has to pay about 100 Ghana cedis before he can attend to school in and out. If such a student is a day student, how are they going to bear this cost? So I am actually making a passionate appeal to the government. As much as they are considering roads, these are major roads, and then they require some urgent attention, that we would very much appreciate it if it is considered as part of their emergency roads that they want to attend to.
This is News Desk with me, Bernice Abubedu Lanza. We've brought you a couple of stories so far. We've done the latest update on the Cecilia Dapan missing cash case, which is that the AG was not aware that there's a pending case in the juvenile court. We also brought you some understanding of possible scenarios that could play out if ECOWAS carries out its threat in Niger. And we've also been speaking to you about the BEC, which has started earnestly today. We'll take a quick breather here. When we come back, we'll bring you business and many others.
Hello, my name is Abeku Agri Santana. If there's anything that makes my life so easy, it is my bank. I love hanging out with my boys at our usual fufu joint. But even without cash, we still dey chop better with EcoBank Mobile. No matter the time of day, my bank helps me stay in touch with my beautiful wife whenever she's away. And when my beautiful wife is in town, she never misses out on her favorite TV shows because I'm able to pay up all my TV subscriptions from the comfort of my mobile phone. Whenever she has to get groceries too, my bank makes it cashless and convenient. And the part my wife loves the most is when my bank makes it possible and easy for her to shop from any part of the world without moving.
Welcome to the smart world of EcoBank. Download EcoBank Mobile from Google Play Store or the App Store and discover the smart way to bank. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Oh, that's wonderful. And that is what champions do.
It feels good to football with GoTV.
One straight now and scores.
Nobody but GoTV gives you all games of La Liga and Serie A, the Premier League and UEFA games that matter, and the world's favorite cup competitions. Get GoTV Super for only 249 cedis to enjoy the football overload. GoTV, love it.
We've had news file over the weekend, and an interesting part of the conversation focused.
Oh no, we are out of range.
Oh, don't worry, Daddy. I have Alexa in my bag.
Alex, what?
Alexa, open Multimedia Ghana and play Joy FM.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
Listen to Joy FM, Hits FM, Love FM, live on your Amazon Echo. Listen to your favorite multimedia radio stations live on your Amazon Echo device by saying, Alexa, open Multimedia Ghana, play Joy FM or Hits FM or Love FM. Or catch up on your favorite podcast by saying, Alexa, play, and then the name of your favorite podcast from Multimedia Ghana. For a list of all podcasts available, say Alexa. Ask Multimedia Ghana to browse programs.
And we are back like we never lost signal.
Alexa, welcome to Multimedia.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Managing Director for Global Shea Alliance, Aaron Edu, says the Alliance and its partners have planted over 500,000 shea trees across West Africa to help recover trees lost last year. He said the continuous depletion of the shea tree is a cause for worry. Mr. Edu raised these concerns at a stakeholders forum organized in Tamale by the Global Shea Alliance and Action for Shea Parklands.
Under the project, about 10 million trees are expected to be planted in the next 10 years in West Africa and 20,000 in Ghana. Shea plant is considered an important tree in northern Ghana because of its economic value. It is estimated to provide about 600,000 jobs for women in the sector, also a foreign income earner. But Mr. Edu said the tree is continuously being cut down.
We are holding this forum today to bring together all stakeholders in the shea industry to talk about the issue of the declining tree population. We see that shea tree population continuously is on the decline. And so through this engagement, we are raising awareness, and then we are designing strategy through consultation to be able to find solutions to the declining shea tree population. So far, we've been able to plant across West Africa a little above 500,000 shea trees across West Africa, not only in Ghana. And I was stored, if I'm not mistaken, about 200 hectares of land already. The momentum is now being gathered. A lot of private sector donors, governments, and stakeholders are now, responding. And so this activity is, what helps us to maintain that momentum, so that the interest people have taken in restoring the background keeps going instead of being stopped on the way.
The director for West Africa Center for Shea Innovation and Research at the UDS, Professor Abukari Al-Hassan, on his part, called for the use of alternative tree as fuel wood instead of shea.
Now, what we need to do is to make sure that we protect the shea tree so that we'll be able to cultivate to achieve the full benefits of the shea tree. Now, in your presentation, I was talking about looking at alternative species of trees that will replace the shea tree as firewood and charcoal. Usually, when I give you the shea tree is overexploited because of its high caloric value. So the need for us to look out for alternative species of trees is very important. For example, trees like this acacia that I have mentioned, they are trees that are fast growing and trees that can easily be cultivated. And then the need for us to take very, very vigorous public campaign activity to change people's behavior and so actually convince people to adopt these alternative trees as
Some presentations were made on the topics: the economic and environmental value of shea trees, the need for raising shea seedlings and planting new shea trees, bylaws to protect shea trees and parkland, among others. For Joy Business, Martina Bugre reporting.
Now, despite the effect of the domestic debt exchange program on consumer confidence, EcoBank Ghana remained the biggest bank in the country in 2022 with a market share of 13.58%. According to the 2023 Ghana Banking Survey by accounting and auditing firm PwC, its market share in terms of the banking industry share of deposits was better than the 11.93% recorded in 2021. There is more in this report.
GCB Bank placed second, but lost some market share in terms of the industry's deposits. In 2022, its market share stood at 10.87%, slightly lower than the 11.43% recorded in 2021. From a trend analysis, GCB Bank has been losing its market share since 2017. The third, fourth and fifth positions were occupied by Stanbic Bank Ghana, Absa Bank Ghana and Consolidated Bank Ghana. Indeed, Consolidated Bank Ghana improved its position and overtook Fidelity Bank to fifth place from sixth place in 2021, although its total percentage of deposits to the industry deposits decreased in 2022. At the end of 2022, the other banks in the top 10 of industry deposits were Fidelity Bank, Zenith Bank, Stanchart, Access Bank, and Cal Bank. Again, EcoBank Ghana maintained its position as the bank with the biggest loans and advances in the industry last year. Its share of industry loans was 14.7%. Meanwhile, the banking sector saw a jump in deposits growth by more than double the growth recorded in 2021.
And that's all in business. The news continues after this break.
HD, the new exciting football channel, is now available only on HD Plus and brings you football from around the world. Watch Sadio Mane and Daniel Kufitre in the top weekly match of the Bundesliga 1 and DFB Cup, Primera Liga, Copa de la Liga Profesional, see Ronaldo in the Saudi Pro League, as well as daily sports news every other hour. Also, get updated on Messi and Mbappe on PSG TV and many more. Feely on HD Plus channel 151. Agronaede, HD Plus, the Feely experience.
Our boss was like, a decent fashion designer only gets home at midnight. Midway.
Man like Osimhen, Papa just the chop Italian league like Oha.
These are real housewives of Abuja. Those women are fire. What does OJ say again? A relationship with money is Alhamdulillah.
Because they wear uniform, you want to treat people anyhow. Imagine this officer, I will clear out online.
Don't cast.
Bruh, come on there. Things no matter. The biggest dragon for Westeros, now he's not picking face Sam, climb down, right down like Formula 1. Yeah, catch me.
He found the gold and asked her for just shaking me a piece of the pie, and she killed him for it.
Obini, fair women,
no one tells a story like we do. Showmax, Africa's original.
When something happens, you want to know all about it immediately. Here at Joy News, we don't just bring you the breaking stories. We go beyond them to bring you the intricate issues in those developing stories. We are relentless in our probe, detailed in our search, and our commitment to be your most credible news source is one that you can trust, because news is all about you. Joy News, credible, independent, and fearless.
Thanks for staying on News Desk. And just gone by, you heard Daryl Howe bringing you the latest from the world of business. And as the second clinic of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair concluded, there was a lot of excitement at the West Hills Mall, and vendors are already looking forward to additional 3 mini fairs in Tema, Takrady, and Kumasi. According to our general manager in charge of sales and customers, David Maxfuga, these new fairs in the 3 cities will provide vendors and patrons additional opportunities to expand their customer base ahead of the main event in November. Carlos Caloni has more.
Is it land you want? Is it property you want? Or you want security doors? Or maybe you need some insurance for your home? All that put together is what we have here at the Joy News EcoBank Habitat Fair happening here at the West Hills Mall. Now we have a number of exhibitors who are promising mouth-watering packages from Syntex tank to EcoBank to elegant homes and to security cameras and all that. And so I will be speaking with some of the exhibitors here to find out from them what product they have and how that can benefit their prospective customers.
We are offering free video intercom and free GSM alarm to our patrons who walk in and purchase any of our CCTV packages. So we have the 4, the 8, the 16 based on your environs and the areas you'd want to monitor. And as I said, if you purchase any of it, we are giving you free video intercom or free GSM alarm systems.
We have 2 products. We have the house and then we have the land. So for the house, it's strictly demand driven. We build based on your request, what you request for from our payment plan. We give that to you. So you start making payments up to 30%. Then you move in. As you're in, you continue making the rest in installment. When you're done, you own the house. And then for the land too, we have up to 2 years payment plan. But we are running promotions now. So when you do outright, you have like 20,000 discount on it for 70 by 100, for example. Tomorrow being the last day, we are hoping people will pass by and then ask the questions they keep on asking when they call. So we are running promotions, yeah. I wouldn't say so much about the promotions, but we are running a lot of juicy promotions. So we hope they pass by. We have up to tomorrow to move. So we hope they pass by and then, also experience the nice environment and then the fun going on here.
Customers or everybody from home should come to West Hills Mall. Come to the stand. We are right here to have a discussion with us. And also we are offering a 10% discount on all our prices, inclusive of a fitted kitchen, fitted cabinets, and also ceiling speakers and many more. So we urge everybody should come around.
Now, those are some mouth-watering products from the exhibitors here, but we want to pick the perspective of some of the customers or the patrons who have been visiting the booth here to find out from them what they make of this key product from the exhibitors. Hello, sir. So give us your name and tell us your impressions so far.
I'm AB, and I'm happy to be here. Actually, I saw this from the television advert, and then since I've been here, I'm impressed. So I actually came here to inquire for a company that I'm working with so that next time we can have a stand also. Yeah.
Actually had an engagement with a rent-to-own company. And I think it's a very good thing. I see it as something that happens in the outside world, especially in Europe, And so I think that if things of that nature continue, it will help, especially we, the Ghanaians, just because if you look at how, rent issues are, you rent, and so looking at their package, I think it's a very good package.
Sponsored by EcoBank and Cities and Habitat, vendors participating in the 2023 EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair say the second mini clinic ranks among the most successful in terms of attendance.
This fair has given us so much exposure because not many people knew of Blue Rose, but due to this fair, we've had a lot of people coming to know Blue Rose Limited, the properties we have available for sale, where our sites are located, and then our contact numbers. So this fair has really been very, very beneficial to us because that have given us the needed exposure to outdoor properties to the general public.
I must say, we coming to the West or the West Hills Mall has been a great experience, and as usual, we have a number of jobs in the West, but I think we also need to get close to our people. Like you rightly asked, we have an office here. We don't have an office, but we have a number of jobs or projects around. So it's good. We also thought we should also get close to our people, get to know what their experiences have been, and then what we look forward to doing for them in the coming days or coming years. So I must say we are impressed. I'm impressed with the participation or with the numbers so far.
For them, the exposure the fair offers is unparalleled.
I think, well, first of all, we joined Joy FM because we believe them to be an exceptional company in terms of media promotion. And the team that we have met over the last 9 months or so have been very helpful in advising us how best to hit our target markets. So it's not just about exposure, it's about targeted exposure. And we now have a greater sense of how to put our name out there in a way that people will want to buy from us.
And that's Carlos Coloni with a wrap of the final day of our mini clinic at the West Hills Mall. So you just want to stay with us. For those of you in Tema, Takoradi and Kumasi, we are coming over to your city. So just keep your eyes on this channel for all the times and advertisements. Well, that's how we end this edition of News Desk. I am really pleased that you make time to join me. Do well to stay with us. This is your most credible news source. I am Bernice Abubedulansa. Thanks once again for watching.